Good morning. I'm Shaini, working as an assistant professor in English in Marathon College of Engineering and Technology. And I'm going to take class on conditional class or conditional sentences. And let me explain you the types of conditional classes. So it comes in professional English 2, that's in unit number 3. So before that, let me share the screen to you. And you can see the conditional everyday life we are using sentences. If I study well, I'll get more marks. Or if I take online class, it is easy. It will be easier for you to write exam. So without knowing the grammatical rule, we are using the sentences. And some people will concentrate on the grammar. And here, no need to focus on the grammar, but we should know the rules and regulations of it. So there are 4 types, and let me share the screen to you. This is conditional class. And there are 4 types of conditional sentences. And it is important when you write this conditional sentences, it is important to use the correct structure for each of these different conditional sentences because it expresses varying meanings. That is, it expresses various meanings. So, and we have to pay attention to the verb. And when using the conditional modes, we have to use the correct, we have to pay more attention to the verb. For example, if I study well, I'll get pass mark. If I study well, and what is the verb here? That is study. Study is a verb. And if I studied well, I would. Okay, so there are some kinds of rules. Let me explain in the next slide. So we have to focus more on, we have to do more attention on the verb. And next one, we have to put this comma properly. And we have to use a comma after the if class when the if class precedes the main class. So see the types of conditional class. There are 4 different types of conditional sentences in English. The first one is zero conditional sentences, and second one, first conditional sentences, third one, second conditional sentences, and fourth one, third conditional sentences. So these are the 4 different types of conditional sentences. So first one, zero, second one, first, and third, second, and fourth, third conditional classes. So what do you mean by zero conditional classes? And where to use the zero conditional sentences? And that expresses general truths. So when we use the zero conditional, and we have to use the correct tense, that is in if class as well as the continuous sentence. It's the main class as well as the subordinate class. We have to focus only the simple present tense format. We should not focus on the past continuous or past perfect or past perfect continuous. We have to use simple presence. And see this example, you will understand. If you don't brush your teeth, you'll get cavities. And see the first part. What is if class here? That is, if you don't brush your teeth, that is the if class, and you get activities, that is the next part. And the first part is the if class, and we have to focus the verb, that is the verb don't, that's in simple present tense. And the next part, the remainder after comma, you'll find another sentence that is you get cavities. So get is also simple present tense. So in this sentence, we have to use only simple present forms. Don't and get, that is the simple presence in the sentence. So this sentence is known as zero conditional sentences. So this is the general truth, right? If you don't brush your teeth, you get that is cavities. And see the next slide. But the next, that is the second one. This is the first one, zero conditional classes. And next one is how to use first conditional sentences. Its first conditional sentences are used to express situation in which the outcome is likely to happen in the future. See, that is, it expresses the future tense. First part, if you take rest, you will feel better. If you take rest, you will feel better. So if you take, I will write this. Take here. If you take rest, this word, if you take rest, you will feel better. And see this word take, take is a simple present, and right side, what's the next sentence after comma, see the future form, you will feel better. So note that we use a simple present tense in the if class. And what is the if class in the sentence? If you take rest. If you take rest is a simple present tense, and take is a simple present, and in that after comma we have to use simple future. That is first conditional sentences. And the next one is second conditional sentences is the third one. Second conditional sentences are useful for expressing outcomes that is completely unrealistic. It's not real, it's unrealistic. See the example. If I inherited $1 billion, I would travel to the moon. If I inherited $1 billion, I would travel to the moon. And see this part, inherited, that's in simple past tense. And this is not a real one, it's realistic. If I inherited, if I get $1 billion, I would travel to the moon. It's not impossible, it's an impossible one. So this condition, that's not a second conditional sentences that expresses completely unrealistic. See the, note the sentences. Notice the correct way to structure second conditional sentences is to use a simple past tense in the if class. And what is the if class in the sentence? See the above sentence. If I inherited $1 billion, that is simple past tense in the if class and an auxiliary modal verb. We have to use modal verb in the next sentence as the preceding sentence, following sentence. I would travel to the moon. And the first part we have to use simple past tense, and the next part we have to use that is modal auxiliaries. And the third, that's the fourth one, that is third conditional sentences. This third conditional sentences are used to explain that present circumstances would be different. If something different had happened in the past, it's not a present, or it's not a future, it's not an unrealistic thing. This is about the past thing. And if you had told me you needed a ride, I would have left earlier. See the rule, that's the rule is when using third conditional, use the past perfect in the if class and modal auxiliary plus have form plus past participle. And past participle means, for example, jump, that is a V1, and V2 means jumped, and the third form is jumped. Again, jump, that's a past participle, V3. Otherwise, it is known as V3. Past participle is otherwise known as V3. That is right means the past participle is return, right? Wrote, return. Okay, return is the past participle. And here, the past participle is left. And the V1 format is leave. So, if you had told me you needed a ride, I would have left earlier. So, this is a third conditional sentences. So, these are about the four types. That is the first one is zero conditional class, and second one is first, and the third one is second conditional class, and the fourth one is third conditional class. And see the example. After going through this example, we shall wind up. If I study, I will pass the exam. And this is a longer form, and the shorter form is if I study, I'll. And we have to use apostrophe. I'll pass the exam. And next, if I studied, this is see the first one. The first sentence, that's the first conditional class, and second one, second conditional class, and the third one is third conditional class. So first one, simple present is simple present study. If I study, I will pass the exam. I will pass it. We use the future tense. And see the next one, the second sentence, that is the first one is a lengthier sentence. That's a longer sentence. If I studied, I would pass the exam. So studied, that is the past tense. In the next, after seeing the class, I would pass the exam. I would pass the exam. So we use simple past tense. That's why we are using would in the preceding sentence. So see the third one. If I had studied, I would have passed the exam. See, this is third condition. If I had studied, we have used past perfect in the sentence. As in if class, we use past perfect. So we are using would plus have plus third form of the verb or past participle of the verb. If I had studied, I would have passed the exam. The answer is shorter form is if I had, that's a had short form. I apostrophe D and then studied, comma, I apostrophe D have passed the exam. So I think that you are very clear in this subject. So these are the four kinds of sentences, four types of conditional sentences. So thank you. Let me wind up the session. Thank you.